All right, guys, I'm gonna start now. This shouldn't take too long. It should be around 20 minutes, half an hour. And so I'll be taking questions at the end of this meeting. And so basically, I'll go over my background experience and then sort of my goals if I was elected president. So thank you for coming. So this is basically my hustings. I invited other candidates to come along, but they weren't able to, so I thought I'd carry this out anyway. So let's just begin. So let's start with my background. So I live in Nottingham. I'm currently in my second year studying financial mathematics and statistics. This current year, I've been the vice president of equity, and I've been a member of the training society since I was in my first year. And some of my interests, I've got a passion for trading, specifically in data and crypto companies, more of a long-term investment, and my approach is more fundamental than technical. I'm also, prior to university, I was captain of my local rugby team, and I have an interest in politics. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me. My experience. So I joined the Trading Society as an associate in equity in August 2020. My main responsibility in that time before university started was to help in the weekly reports in the equity markets. So you can find those on the Facebook group page or specifically, or on LinkedIn. And in around 2 months' time, I was promoted to vice president of equity. I was a very committed and active member, and I was needed to recruit analysts and lead presentations and sort of the responsibilities of a vice president. And I think this experience that I've gathered over this academic year would be very useful in being president, because not only when you're president, it's not only just what you know about markets and how you can apply your knowledge, it's the managerial role that takes part as well. It's being able to organize events, reach out to people, and to basically have ambitious and active mindset as part of the society. And that's what I did currently this year. And that's what I would continue to do as president. And just to talk a bit more about my time as a VP, I'd say we listed several successful stocks and our trade ideas. And if you're a member of the society and you're watching this and you don't know what our trade ideas were, this was a project set up for the analysts in each division, where they would basically suggest an idea, a stock or a currency or a commodity to invest in. And then these ideas were published on the London Financial Journal, which can be found on LinkedIn. So our successful stocks were Palantir, Neo, and Imperial Oil, all of which have seen successful stock returns over the last couple of months. So they're just some successful things that we've done. And not only that, I also, in the Lent term, part of my manifesto, which I'll touch on in a moment, is about including all members in terms of education about markets. So when it came to the Lent term, I wanted to introduce the Friday Night Finance, and that was all about basically giving everyone a broad aspect of markets and how you can do your research. And I was hoping that would encourage people to take part in more competitions and challenges in the future. But I'll touch more on that in a moment. So other things in regards to my experience, I've been managing my own portfolio for a year now. So that exposure to the real markets, I believe, is giving me a lot of insight in how to, from a knowledge standpoint, and that key part of experience there, I think, is going to be very important as part of my manifesto. I've also competed in stock competitions such as the Temasek Impact Investing Challenge, and this was essentially, pitching a stock that would have beneficial impacts on, the environment, social factors, basically something that'd be good for the planet. And I also practiced trading in a boutique firm called Kylan Prime Group. This was actually set up as an opportunity by the Trader Society in my first year, something which I was very grateful for, and it's something that I really want to introduce again for our next year university. So now this is the longest part of the presentation. I want to talk about my manifesto and sort of what I want to do if I was elected president. Now, before I go into the specific details, I divided it into two parts. So I think the Training Society is really good already for education. I think it's a standout society when it comes to this thing. So I think, I was also a member of other societies such as Big and the Hedge Fund Society in my first year. And whilst they were good, what I realized was it didn't have that level of education that the Training Society provided. But at the same time, whilst we do all this research and all this textbook teaching, I think at the same time we need exposure. and we need to give our members the opportunity to actually experience real markets and to basically dive into the real world of trading. And I think, that is what my manifesto provides. And when I made it, I thought about what can you guys get out of it the most? What appeals to you the most? And sort of, this is what I was looking for my first year, and I find society's lacked in it a lot. So this is what I really want to introduce if I was president. So to start with the education side, I'll go over education, then experience or exposure, as you want to call it. So in terms of education, it would be basically keeping things fairly constant and improving. So for example, the educational sessions. So this year, each division would have done 2 presentations, an hour and a half, on their aspects. So in my case, I did a presentation on company valuation, different methods of it in December, and it was November. And then I did portfolio diversification and a case study of evaluating Tesla in early February. So to expand on that, I would basically improve those sessions, make them more interactive with people, and that's something I tried to do in February. Now, obviously, with the COVID restrictions and all, and that's all big online, in terms of it being interactive, it's been quite difficult. But I'm sure as we return to some sense of normality back in September, from then onwards, I would definitely be introducing ways in which we can engage the audience more with these presentations. The second thing is trading simulations. So we had one event last year with amplified trading. That's something I again want to bring back, because I think it's a great opportunity for new members to get a taste of what it's like to trade. And I just think it's an all-around fun experience. So that's something again I would keep. Weekly reports and trade ideas. I think this is a key part of my experience manifesto side. It's quite a fundamental part. And that's something I would definitely keep going with. And the stock pitch competitions. Now, this is something that we tried in December, and it went fairly successfully, but I'd wanted to make it available to all members of the society. And using educational sessions and the trading simulations, this I hope, would encourage members who are not part of the subcommittee, but still willingness to learn and to take part. They would be encouraged to take part in these competitions as well, and then there will be some reward at the end of it. And that reward could be, straight up money, it could be an implementation of their pitch. And this is something I'm about to go on to now, which this society has never done before. So this is on the experience side now. So the first thing I would do, and the biggest project, would be setting up a real investment portfolio. And I think this is very important as a trading society, because it's putting our money where our mouth is, right? We week in, week out publish reports on different stocks and industries. We have a very talented group of people working on these ideas. But I think it's really important that we basically expand this further and get people to a sense of, right, you're going to apply your textbook knowledge, and we're going to see how it actually works out in the real markets. I've just noticed now that if someone's put something in the chat, I'm going to take questions at the end, and I'll go over everything then. The Trading Careers Fair. This is basically, I would reach out to my own personal network, Trading Society's network, and also the LSESU's careers services as well, because they also have connections to all these big firms. It's basically setting up a fair which allows all our members to reach out to professionals. Now, the reason I think that's important is obviously so you can network, and that will help you in the future career-wise. But also, in my first year, in my second year, for all of us in this last year, because of COVID, we've not been able to do much. But in my first year, people like me, we went to the careers fairs, and there was obviously a lot of really large successful firms there, and it was good to meet them. But nothing was specific towards trading. So I think I would want to set this up to get people to meet, obviously the obvious larger firms like Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Bloomberg, well, they're more of a research provider, but to meet them. But then also on the same side to meet the boutique firms, because they also provide their own opportunities. And that's something which people should definitely look at. And finally, I would also introduce insight trading days. Realistically speaking, I would set this up for the Lent term, so in 2022. This is to make sure that COVID is definitely off the table and it won't disrupt the plans. But this is something that happened in my first year in 2019. And it was an opportunity basically to go to a small boutique firm, practice trading with them, and it was more of that was a competition. And I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a great experience for a lot of people, and it's just something I want to bring back. So these are the three main things that I would be promoting, and to relate, very especially on the investment portfolio. No society does this. Well, there's probably a few small groups of people that do it at the university. So I think there's MBP Capital and some other smaller groups of researchers that do this. But business investment group, I've not heard any announcements on that. Hedge fund society, no. And it's something that really shocked me because you're a society in finance. Surely you would be implementing your ideas. So I think this is a very bold move that I think we should definitely be taking. And it's something you can also discuss about in the future when you're looking for a job and maybe you're in an interview. You can talk about these investments you made. And I think the fact that we're in a society gives us the advantage of structuring it as if this was an organization and doing it where you pitch to the vice president or the president, and then that would be implemented. And then you can tell your future employees about that. And also, you can really go a lot with this idea, because the stock pitch competitions we do, perhaps the winners of those competitions have their ideas implemented in the fund. Or you could actually say to all members, if you do have any ideas for a pitch, and this is just any point in the year, email myself or the VP. We can set up a meeting and we can discuss it. It's going to be a very transparent structure, and I think that ties in really well with the opportunities that the Training Society already provides. So I think it's a very bold move, but I think we should definitely be taking it. So the last thing I did not mention on the website was merchandise, and I think this is more of a side project. I wouldn't prioritize this, but I was thinking about this a few days ago. When you join a society, I think you've got you learned from it. You've met people, you've had their exposure, but now you want something actual tangible to take away from it. So, and that could be as little as just hoodies, for example. I just thought it would be good if the society could actually get their own branded hoodies, which you can then take back, and then when you graduate, you can look back on it, and maybe, just maybe, through the society, you're able to get an opportunity or a career in the industry. So I think it's something that I spoke to a few people about it. They said it was a great idea. The pens and the notebooks was more me just brainstorming, but I would definitely be open to introducing that as well. It's just, this is a side project, and I thought, members appreciate to have that, something that they can actually hold and they can actually take back with them. So that concludes my manifesto and pretty much about me. Just a bit about the voting, because some people may or may not know this. So it starts 17th of March, 9 a.m. UK time, and it ends next Thursday, 9 a.m. Only full members can vote, and by full members I mean paid memberships. You've got to pay the £2 to vote. So if you haven't already, and if you're able to, I believe you are, make sure you do that before voting starts. The link is here to the actual page. So this is actually, you can actually get to the Training Society through that. And of course, if you don't have any questions right now, but maybe you think of something later, just email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So we've got people with us now. So if anyone has any questions now, I'd be looking to take those. I'm checking the chat now to see what it says. Oh, cheers, Dorian. So yeah, I'll be taking questions now. If no one has anything, that's fine. Once again, you can always email me if you thought something later, but no worries. Okay, all right. I think no one's got any questions. I think that's probably good. Maybe that's a good thing. So that concludes from me. Again, last time, you can always email me. I'll get back to you. Voting starts on Wednesday, and thank you all for coming. And I'll hope to see what the outcome is. If you're standing for a position in any role, good luck with that, and best of luck. Thank you.